At Vine Church, we believe that Jesus offers life, love, and freedom. And every year we hear stories of people that have come to discover that. At Christmas 2 years ago, we heard the story of Sam and how God had been at work in her life. And then in Easter last year, we heard her brother's story, Glenn. And recently their mum, Susan, has been coming along to church. And so this year I sat down with Glenn, Sam, and their mum, Susan, to hear a little bit more about their story.
Hey, my name's Glenn.
Hey, my name's Sam. Hey, my name's Susan.
So I grew up going to church, and by the time I got to year 11, year 10, I realized that my life didn't align with the values that the church had. I was sort of straddling both lives, and I made the decision to stop going to church and to stop going to youth group. I also started playing music, and I got really into that. And so come the end of high school, me and some friends were convinced that we would all become rock stars. And then there was a moment where my sister gave me a book about a guy who actually was a rock star, and he became a Christian. And as I read this book, I was provoked to think more about my own life and where I was headed. And I ended up reflecting and thinking, you know what, becoming a rock star isn't everything it's cracked up to be. And so I decided to put my trust in Jesus, and that changed everything.
I remember around that time, Mom getting a text and saying, Glenn's just sent me a message that says, do you want to read the Bible with me? Do you think it's a joke? Do you think I'm being punked?
Yeah, she thought that one of my friends had hacked my phone and were like stitching her up. So
yeah,
it was a bit of a shock. There was a dramatic change.
It was a marked turnaround, yeah. My story is similar to Glenn's in that I grew up going to church as well, but fell away, probably in the teenage years. It felt like there were so many unanswered questions, and there were so many inconsistencies in Christianity for me. My sister, our other sister, was a very faithful person and was always harassing me to pray with her, to read the Bible with her. She finally asked me to do Christianity Explained with her, and I said yes because I was allowed to argue and we didn't have to pray. I learnt that Jesus wasn't just for the proper, shiny people, but he came for people like me who were really messy, people who I thought didn't have a place in church. That's actually who he came to save. And so learning about that changed everything for me. By the end of the course, there's this moment where you have to decide if you're going to follow him or go back to living how you were living before. So I knew that following him was a leap of faith. But now I'm realizing that my agnosticism was a leap of faith as well. And I had this huge pile of evidence for Jesus. And so that felt like the safest leap.
The two of us, we were sort of like both in awe of Kylie, and how seriously she took her faith, but then also intrigued by one another's own life decisions. And so I think that had a big core on both of them.
For sure. Kylie had a huge impact on the family, really. I first went to Vine Church a couple of times a few years ago when Glenn invited Sam and I to go to special occasion services like Easter. It was so vibrant and full of life, and everyone that was there, like we looked around, everyone was so into being there. I could really see the appeal of it. A few years later, Sam started going as well as Glenn. I thought, okay, well, she's doing it. And I found out, I think from you, that you could watch it online as well. So I started watching it online, like every week. And then I finally felt ready to actually venture out and come to services in person and meet the people themselves. And I was genuinely welcomed, and it was really great. And I must admit, it helped a lot that I had Glenn and Sam, two of my lovely Christian children, there to just be with me. I didn't feel quite so alone. The churches I'd gone to in the past, they said you could ask questions, but they never really came to answering them. And I just stopped asking questions then. And then when I came to Vine, shortly after that, Christianity Explored was being, advertised. So I did put my name down and I did go, and it was really good. Questions were genuinely encouraged and answered. Finding Jesus has enriched my life because it's drawn my attention more to how all I have to do is ask God to give me clarity and to help me through those moments.
The Easter story, Jesus' death and resurrection, isn't some abstract holiday that we get to have a weekend off for. But for me, I've been affected by how the Son of God could come to earth and die for me and then come back to life so that I don't have to continue to strive to be the best person I can be, but I can trust in him and follow his way.
Jesus' death confirms, I think, that my messy past means that I have a place in church and a place in God's kingdom, where I think I used to not understand that. I think I had to be like some perfect person, but Jesus died for a reason, because we needed him to die for us, because, you know, we're not amazing. I'm definitely not amazing, and his resurrection gives me hope in the future for what's going to come next.